Hi YouTubers, and welcome to the next edition of Ramon Bannister's Everything RC. For this edition I'm going to compare the Stampede brushed version 4x4 and the Losi SCBE. Now you may think that this comparison is a little bit unfair since they're both made for two different things. However, I think it's still good to compare, especially for people who are in the market for another radio-controlled car and want to know what the advantages, disadvantages are, and want to make a more informed decision. Now, as I mentioned, they're both 4x4, but the Stampede runs a brushed motor, so I find it to have a little bit more control off-road. It can drive in wet or dry conditions. It's perfect for the woods or desert with lots of natural debris like tree roots, big rocks, dirt, gravel, whatever it can handle it, even thick mud. When I took it out, it survived hard impacts against curbs and boulders, and even went over the boulders that were kind of at a low angle and making a low natural ramp, thus allowing me to do fast and aggressive jumps, which was really cool. My first impression of the SCBE is that it is extremely fast. Like, we're talking fast. You put wings on this thing and it'll fly. That's how fast it goes. It's running a brushless motor and a 2S LIPO. And so obviously it's going to be much faster than the Stampede. With the Stampede, I'm only running a nickel metal hydride battery in it. It handles surprisingly well off-road at extremely high speeds. And this includes running on bumpy grass, dirt roads, dirt paths with potholes, and taking jumps, really high, really fast jumps. It easily survives harsh tumbles and hard impacts, though I did have to replace, or I will have to replace, a couple parts, including this one. At first glance, both the Stampede and the SCBE are very aesthetically pleasing. However, I would say the SCBE is a little bit more realistic, especially with these cool little driver and passenger figurines in the cockpit of the buggy. The Stampede, to my eyes, is a little bit busy with all these lines going every which way and doesn't have a lot of realistic detail. While the shell on the SCBE is really hard, the Stampede's body is very flimsy, which I'll talk about later. A common complaint of Stampede owners is that the body is placed a little bit high up. That is, the body posts are a little bit too long. And that makes it so that there's a space in between the chassis and the body, which it potentially exposes the electronics to more mud and debris. The SCBE body is mounted on hinges so that you really only need two clips to take in and put out here in the front, and it opens up kind of like a door, which I find very convenient. There is a possible downside to the body of the SCBE because when you turn the wheels, the body doesn't protect entirely this front side, so there could be dirt and other debris going in there, including water, and exposing the electronics. Now, the electronics on both cars are waterproof, I will say that. Now let's compare both of these cars in a little bit more detail. With the remote controls on the SCBE, it has kind of a cheap feeling, although it does work fine. Same with the Stampede. Now on the SCBE, one of the things that adds to the cheap feeling is that they didn't put any foam on the steering wheel, whereas on the Stampede there is a foam comfort type grip to it. The wheels on the SCBE look very good, and the orange makes it easier to see from far away. And that Stampede looked very cool with the chrome look. The compound on both are a little hard, although for the Stampede I would say that the tires are made more for off-road than the SCBE. The tires on both cars have very good traction. Although, as I said, with the Stampede, it's probably better traction off-road than the SCBE, and they're both great for informal bashing. Now let's look at the guts of both cars. Immediately when I opened up the SCBE, I noticed a very clean, professional look, whereas the guts in the Stampede, they have good electronics, but really the parts in it are kind of cheap. Now, the Losi has plastics that are reputed to be of high quality. With that said, I will qualify that and mention that one of the plastic parts broke on me. Whereas the Stampede 4x4, their shock caps are known to break. So a lot of people on YouTube, if you do Google searches or YouTube searches, you'll find people replacing those plastic shock caps with the blue aluminum kind. With regard to the motors of both cars, the SCBE is running a brushless motor, which is very fast and powerful, and the Stampede 4x4 is running a brushed motor, which still has a lot of power, but isn't nearly as fast as the SCBE. Now, according to a guy who calls himself Bulletproof RC, he has his own YouTube channel, and I'll include a link to one of his videos in the description of this video. He says that the SCBE stock motor runs hot. No matter what he did, he tried putting a fan on it, he tried a lot of things, and it always ran hot, so he wound up replacing the motor. On the Stampede, it runs normally. It doesn't run hot in my experience. It's very reliable and tough, and it still runs despite what I put it through, which means thick mud, dirt, grime. The battery type on both are also very different. On the SCBE, I'm running a 2S LIPO 50C 7.4 watts at 4 amps. Whereas the Stampede, I'm running the stock nickel metal hydride 8.4 volt at 3 amps. The SCBE battery has tons of punch and power, and I mean tons. With the Stampede, just kind of normal. It still has lots of power. I did buy an extra 5 amp battery just to increase runtime. Some of the negative points about both cars, especially about the battery types, is that on the SCBE, in my experience, the voltage cuts out quite suddenly, and that's normal for LiPo batteries because you'll want that to happen. Otherwise, you could run the risk of a fire or the battery literally blowing up on you. So the battery is quite dangerous, or can be if you don't know what you're doing. Whereas on the Stampede, the nickel metal hydride isn't as dangerous, although I wouldn't totally discount the danger there either. The Stampede battery doesn't have as much punch to it. However, it does have much longer runtime. I put there that it's inconsistent due to the constant linear voltage decline. However, as I said, much longer runtime. Whereas with the SCBE, it just cuts out on you. Obviously, if you're going to be running these cars very aggressively, crashing into things, doing lots of flips and jumps, problems are going to occur, and these are the problems that I have dealt with. On the SCBE, the first time I took it out, a nut on the left back wheel came loose, and that caused the wheel to shake and to almost fall off. It didn't quite fall off, but it almost did. And it was an easy fix, just tighten the nut. And recently, when I was shooting the video for this segment, I crashed into a brick wall at fairly high speed, it must have hit the wall pretty hard because the front suspension arm and a steel kingpin broke. Now in the Stampede, the toe links broke, which made it so that I couldn't steer the car. It was an easy repair, and I shot a video of that. It was my first video of this RC Cars series. The screws and other parts on the Stampede tend to rust very easily, and that is a huge negative for me because the car is actually advertised to be waterproof. But if you have rusting metal only the first or second time you take this RC car out, and it's supposed to be waterproof, that means it isn't waterproof. And the motor housing also deteriorated slightly, but as I said, the motor is very tough and reliable, and it still works as if it were new. Oh, hi again. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for another video on how to fix the suspension arm on the Losi SCBE. Meanwhile, you can subscribe to my channel, and you can also watch the newly created playlist on entertaining RC car videos. 3, 2, 1. Hi YouTubers, and welcome to the next edition of Ramon Bannister's Art. At first glance, both the Stampede and SCBE are aesthetically attractive. Little bit too many lines going every which way. And let's see. 3, 2, 1. A common complaint of Stampede owners is that the body posts. One possible negative point about the SCBE body is that there is no I think it's fair, especially if you're in the market for a new radio controlled car and want to see Oh, hi there. Thank you for watching. Oh, hi there. Thank you for... Oh, hi there. Thank you for watching. I hope that wasn't it. Thank you for watching. Oh, hi there. And stay tuned for another video on how to replace the... Meanwhile, go ahead and... Oh, hi again. Thank you for watching.